Great evening, everybody. Great evening. Terrific Thursday to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Market Talks. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. We will begin shortly. Great evening from Toledo. Great evening, great evening. Tremendous Thursday evening from Cleveland. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great evening from Milwaukee. Drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. Great evening from Milwaukee. I am an educated trader. All I do is win. I am anointed for wealth. Good evening from Orlando. Welcome, welcome. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. Right. Good evening from Minnesota. Welcome. Make sure that you're in a quiet room, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you have a notepad and pen and that you have your computers up as well. Welcome, welcome. You definitely don't want to miss any of the information tonight. Remember, an educated trader is a profitable trader. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. Remember our basic affirmations. I am a BYOB master trader. I am the signal. All my trades end in profit. I am 777. I am anointed for wealth. I am an educated trader. Therefore, I am a profitable trader. I am a BYOB average breaker. I am a billionaire. Drop it in the chat. Patience, patience, profit. I am disciplined. Absolutely. Welcome from Jacksonville. Welcome, welcome from Cleveland. Good evening from Chattanooga. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from. Make sure you drop or you send your partners a text message. Let them know that we want to end the week strong. Remember, an educated trader is a profitable trader. We are a part of the largest economic empowerment movement in the history of mankind, the only economic empowerment movement. Great evening from Cleveland. I am bold, confident. Yes, 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 absolutely. Drop it in the chat as you join us. 6 figures in 6 months. Yes, patience, patience, profit. As you join us, drop it in the chat where you're joining us from and your affirmations. And for those of you who are brand new, drop a 111 in the chat. If this is your first time joining us, drop a 111 in the chat. And if you are still learning how to cash out, drop a 222 in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is indeed my privilege and honor to turn this platform over to a woman who is living phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That is she. She is someone who I love, respect, admire. Why? Because she has a huge heart, a caring spirit. She's always willing to give of herself to make others better. She got started in this movement and brought all she had to the table. She's a retired major from the U.S. Army. She has her MBA. Ladies and gentlemen, she's been a financial advisor, real estate professional. She's a loving mom, loving grandmother as well. She created the BYOB cash out strategy that is allowing us to leave generational wealth, to compound in as opposed to compound out. She is a genius in the chart. She's the best to ever do it. So please help me welcome my friend, my business partner, my mentor, coach extraordinaire, none other than the Trade Whisperer, Miss Tasha M. Dyer. Miss Dyer, are you there?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am here. And welcome, welcome, welcome each and every last one of you all to our Market Talks. Yes, BYOB Market Talks. But before we dive in here this evening and get started, I definitely want to thank Miss Anderson for what she is doing, our PIP master. Let me tell you, I want to thank her for all that she is doing. You know, she caught the vision of this movement, and she is definitely someone having tremendous impact. Now, she does bring to the table where success leaves clues. Guys, if you know her, you know she operates in excellence. Everything she does is in excellence. And I'm just excited to work alongside with her as we definitely take this to the next level. And yes, we're talking about a woman that's been featured in Success from Home magazine 10 times. So you're definitely talking about excellence once again. So we're going to dive in, but we're going to dive in. And I want you all, I'm looking in here and I see some of you all still logging in. I want you to make sure you drop those affirmations. And yes, I see you. I see you out here in YouTube. I see you guys on LinkedIn. I see you all right on Facebook, everywhere that we are streaming. I see you. So welcome. I got your welcome. I see some 111s on a call. But guys, as you continue to log in, you definitely want to make sure that you're dropping it in the chat and really kind of just letting us know where you're calling in from. Definitely something that you want to do. And those affirmations, the mindset is critical. The mindset is key to your success. So as I get my screen shared together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain our call schedule to you guys, okay? I'm going to explain this in detail. So what we do is we educate and implement. It's that simple, right? That's a call. That's a call schedule. That's the call. No, I'm just kidding. We educate and we implement. That's what we do. Educate and implement. And so understanding that we educate and we implement, what that means is this system is set up for your success, all right? This system is set up for you to be empowered and for you to be successful. So ultimately what happens is you literally join us on Tuesday nights. We're operating in the basics. Okay. And guess what? The woman you just heard from, the pit master, that's where she's gifted. That's where she's skilled. She understands how to break things down to the simplistic form in its simplicity. And you actually get to walk through, and that's that building block. That's where we actually lay the foundation. And then tonight is where we do the advance, where we get our tools analysis. You're going to dive in. We're going to walk through the tools. As you can see, I already have the bounce back up. So this is a part 2. It's a continuation from last week. And so what that means is we show you, we help you understand the market analysis, some market structure, and also just really understanding how to utilize the tools, because guess what? They actually empower you. The tools actually empower you. And then also, ladies and gentlemen, in the mornings we implement. So we educate and implement. In the mornings is our market analysis, right? We're going to do some market analysis, where it's our profit calls on Monday through Thursday at 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so what these calls are designed to do is really put you in a position of profit, put you in a position, because what happens is you enroll into the academy, you learn how to utilize the tools, and that's what puts you in profit, okay? Learning how to utilize the tools, learning how to understand the market, learning how, that's what's ultimately going to put you in profit. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive in. We are definitely bold and confident, right? We're bold and confident. We're definitely BYOB, master traders anointed for wealth. That is what we are. And so as you begin to understand that, you will begin to see the market in clarity. Now, where we are, you notice that there has not been a trigger, right? There has not been a trigger all day that comes through here. But when we're on the call in the morning, you see quite a bit of triggers. You see quite a bit that actually happened. And so what I promised that I'm going to do is I still have our markups from this morning. All right. So you see our GBP USD. You can kind of see that it got held at that trend line. So for those of you all who were here with us this morning, you definitely can see where we took profit on this trade, took profit on that GBP. Cough, cough, took profit on a CHF. If you're a 111, I know you don't get it if you're with us, but for my seasoned traders, the ones that kind of hang with us, they know why I'm coughing right here. Now, so there y'all go. I knew you guys were all here. So, but okay, so here are some markups, but I'm not going to start you from here. All right. I'm not going to start you from here. Where I want to start you from is I want to really show you how this works, because you're going to get some trades that are called on a 15-minute. You'll get some trades that are triggered on the 60-minute, which that's the hour. So they're going to come based on where those happen. Now, we are going to have a part 3, as I thought about this today, because I want to take my time with it and I want you to understand it. You see, they have one right here that was called on the 4 hour as well. So I want to make sure that we take our time, because I'm going to show you, we're going to take this next week and we're going to put it on a harmonic scanner. What we're going to use it to show you how all of these tools are the same. They're analyzing the same market, but they're pulling different things to help you, right? They're going to be pulling from different spaces. They're going to be pulling from different places to actually help you and put you in that profit, right? That's what they're going to be doing. So, so that's what's going to happen. Now, let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and let's kind of dive in here. All right, let's kind of dive, right? So as we look right here, you can see that I'm on GBP USD. And so as we talk, matter of fact, because I want you guys to see what I'm referring to. So let me walk you through here so you know how to get on here, right? How to do it. So now as I'm here, okay, when you're here, you log into im.center. We're going to take you from the very basics. im.center. When you log into im.center, all right, you have your harmonics. This is what we've been pulling quite frequently. We talked about the vibrata from here earlier today, and we talked about it yesterday, all right? That's what we talked about, the vibrata. We also talk about the bounce back. This is where we are right now. So these are tools, right? When we tell you when you get enrolled, you're going to have access to the tools. These are all the tools, like all the different things that you actually have access to. So we've gone over some, but it's like we're going to dive deeper in these tools to really help you understand how to implement them. So when we talk about the harmonic scanner, right? Well, first we talked about psychological levels in the market. Now, we did a very in-depth training on psychological levels. Now, why is this important? So if I'm looking at the charts and if I'm looking at the market, you log on here, you have absolutely no idea what you're looking at. You're looking at this for the first time. It's like, what is this, right? I've been told it looked like an EKG. One of the first times when I first got started, and a young lady I was sitting with, and she was like, oh my gosh, that looked like an EKG. But the reality is if it looks like an EKG, right? We understand that an EKG reads. It helps you understand. It gives you the heartbeat. And so we're going to embrace that. We're going to embrace that. Yes, it does look like an EKG, but at the same time, it's going to give us the heartbeat of the market. It's going to give us the pulse and the understanding so we know how to dive in and take a trade. We just have to learn how to read it. So we always want to embrace. We want to embrace what we're looking at. So when we talk psychological levels in the market, before I even start analyzing anything, we're talking about the numbers. So understand this is real price. And I'm sharing this with you because the market is the market is the market. No matter what tool we pull, no matter where we pull it from, no matter what, the market is the same market. This is the same market you invest in. This is the same market you put your retirement funds in. It's the same exact market. The only difference is we get to do what banks do. That's the difference. So as you look here, right, this is real price, right? This is real price, okay? So this is how much US dollar it takes to purchase British pound. So I want you to remember, you're looking at real activity. You're just looking at it from a different viewpoint now. So these are buyers, these are sellers, these are actual transactions that's happening in the market. You're just not the buyer or the seller. That's the difference, okay? That's the difference. So right now you're looking at somebody else's account, somebody else's information. And so the more zeros, the more impact, because we round, right? We round. Now we tend to rouse. It costs $100. It costs $500. It costs $150, right? We round. It costs $10. It's not $9.72. It's $10. Okay. So if that's the psyche of people, then the market is going to round. Okay. So you guys with me? So around those levels is where we have the market is either going to break through it or it's going to reverse, okay? At those levels, So if I'm gonna drop a level on here and I'm gonna take it off, but I'm just trying to paint the picture. So if I just put a level on here, let me put this here. If I put this level on here, then what happens is you see the market is either gonna break through or it's going to reverse. There's another one down here, okay? So if I just look at those psychological levels, all right, there's another one down here, and the market is going to break through or it's going to reverse. Now, what happens is at these levels, which are support and resistance lines, you learn those in the academy. At these levels, you see the market actually reverses, the market turns, or it still reacts, but it comes through, it breaks through, right? So what happens is the reason why I always start you guys, okay? Now we're on the vibrato. We start on the vibrato. I'm gonna walk you through how the vibrato triggers. We've trained on that to understand. So every time we hit a support and resistance level, the vibrato does a if this, then that, and it triggers to give you a high probability trade. Now, for those of you all who know, our visionary, right, the BYOB cash out strategy I created is housed in here, but our visionary, Mr. Rogers, is actually the spokesperson for this tool. Now, he's a spokesperson because of his background, and this was actually able to be vetted. So we're talking about investment banking. We're talking about you being empowered to really be your own bank. And I want you to understand why this is the premier tool in the academy, because when you talk about being vetted and you talk about the power to do what big banks of the world do, this is why we use this tool. This is why we always bring back to the vibrato. This is why everything comes back to here, okay? So you want to understand the power you have in your hands. You just don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So now when we know that, and so when we identify, what happens is with the harmonic scanner, okay, just looking at this, what the harmonic scanner does is it identifies the reversal patterns, okay? These are reversal patterns. And if you tend to come back and look, all right, we'll come back over here and we'll look at it. Around these psychological levels is we're either gonna have some reaction, like there's one here, all right? I'm gonna kind of show you the one that's right here. So you have another one right here, right? The more zeros, the stronger it is. All right. Not getting into that training tonight. Don't have time. It's on the YouTube channel, the psychological levels. So the market is going to react. So I'm gonna thin this one out because I really want you guys to not focus on this one. I'm just trying to show you that the market is going to react, whether it breaks through or not, it's still gonna have some reaction around this level. We had some reaction on this level over here, right? We just gotta drop down to see it, but you can still see how these candles are around this area, how you see you had some reaction. Now at these levels, the harmonic pattern, the harmonic scanner identifies harmonic patterns, which are, you know, this is why we don't have to know math to do this, because it does it for you. It identifies those harmonic patterns and you get those reversal patterns. Then the bounce back identifies the trend. So here, my harmonic scanner is identifying the reversal pattern, and then the bounce back comes in and it identifies the trend. And so as I'm looking, okay, let's talk about what a trend line is. Let's talk about a trend line. So we're looking at the market, right? We're looking at the market. This is the market. You notice I'm on a higher time frame, okay? Let me talk to you about these time frames. Each one of these, see, this is British pound and US dollar, okay? That's what I'm analyzing right now. And each one of these, okay, each one of these tools, each one of these numbers represent how long it takes before you get a new candle. It represents nothing more than that. It does not tell you how much money you'll make in that time frame. It does not tell you how many pips is possible for you to get. It does not tell you anything other than how long you are in that before you get a new candle. How long, you know, it takes. So if I'm on the 1 minute, then it takes 1 minute before I get a new candle. If I'm on the 4 hour, then it's 4 hours before I get a new candle. So if you look at our countdown ticker right here, we just received a new 4 hour candle. Now, if you look at these candles, look at this 4 hour candle, quite a bit. This was a nice, solid, strong candle. You look at this one, he's not starting out too good, right? We're not starting out that great. Football season it's starting up. The actual regular season is starting up right now, and you want them to start out strong, right? But that doesn't change the dynamics that they have to play the whole game, meaning they have to be in it for the whole 4 hours. Well, he's not doing too well. They're going to have some teams that come in and they play like this. So I want you to just think about the fact that this is how, right? This is only has to do with time frame. It only has to do with this countdown tells me in 4 hours I get another candle. All right. So when I look at these, when I'm looking here, my higher time frames, my 1 hour and my 4 hour is my direction. All right. This is my direction. This is what's giving me direction. Now, of course, you have you have the other ones that go higher. You want to get some deeper analysis, have fun. Absolutely. You have your monthly. That means every month we get a new candle. You have your weekly. That means every week we get a new candle. You have your daily. But the reason why we don't focus on those all the time is because it depends on what type of trader you are. Because if I'm scalping, looking at the monthly is like looking at Google Earth to find your turn in your neighborhood. We don't want to do that. Like I don't need Google Earth to find this turn on my street, right? I don't need that. So it depends on the type of trader that you are. If you need to look way up here. Now, if you want to help identify those strong zones, then yes, go ahead and look up there and analyze and find out the strong areas. You see, I'm on a daily. Obviously, this is going to be a strong rejection area because I'm on a higher time frame. Now, my 1 hour and my 4 hour, this is my direction. My 15 and my 30 minute, this is my analysis. This is why our foundation starts on the 15-minute chart. I still can't trade it without coming up here and finding out what's going on. But this is where my analysis happens. This is why we start and spend so much time on the 15-minute chart. Well, we blue line cross over the red, which I'm gonna walk you through the BYOB cash out strategy in just a moment. So, and I'm mentioning this, and I really want you guys to understand, because I can't tell you how many people I talk to get excited about the 10 pips and cash out and they made some profit, but then they don't want to understand what's happening on a higher time frame. This is just like getting in your car and just driving. And you can go somewhere, but where are you going? You have no direction. Like it's where am I headed to? What am I doing? Do I really have a clear direction of where I'm going? And eventually you're going to come back in a circle. You're going to go the wrong way. Eventually something like that's going to happen. So I still need to know my direction. I need to know where I'm going. And that's what my higher time frames are. This is why we're using that time frame confluence. This is why we're doing those things. And then my lower time frames, okay? Yeah, so I can look at this and I'm going to see some market structure. I promise I am. I'm gonna see some market structure. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. We're about to talk about a trend, and I'm like, you just look how beautiful that is right there. Just look at the pattern. But it's all this is your entry. It's just so much more activity. And you don't want to look at this and try to think this is going to tell you where to go. That's like walking in your house and the toddler or the baby giving directions. That doesn't happen, right? The adults give the directions. The adults tell you what to do. So you want to make sure that you read the market the same way. Y'all feel the heartbeat? We talked about this at EKG. You feel the heartbeat coming through, right? You feel you're starting to understand the pulse of the market. And that's really going to help you. So now, when we start talking about trends, okay, because what the bounce back identifies is trends. And so when I look at this, we might be on this chart for a while, depending on your feedback, okay? Because you guys need to drop in the chat, ask your questions in the chat. This is a training call, so we want to make sure we slow it down and take the time. It's an advanced training call, but you still want to make sure we slow it down, we take the time, and make sure you guys see it, okay? Now, if you ask me about the piece, I might send you back to Tuesday. No, I'm just playing. So now, when we come in here, all right, now what I just did is I drew a trend line. Now, understand this. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to start here. So when we start drawing a trend line, this is an upward momentum, okay? We see the market. You see, here I am. I'm in an upward, like you see this is going up. You guys see that? You can just look at it. It's headed higher. I can just look at this. I'm rising. I'm buying, right? This is what it's doing. So in order for me to start identifying a trend, okay, you're gonna have these touches, okay? We're looking for touches. So if I got my touches, I'm gonna put a 1 right here, right? So we can start right here with this 1. And then I'm gonna put a 2 over here because this is where my other touch is, right? This is where my other touch is. So 2 touches, 1 touch, 2 touch. So you can see, can y'all see those numbers? Right? Can you see them? Okay. So 1 touch, 2 touch. So once I have those 2 touches, then I just drag the line. All right, I just drag the line. So you can drag the line, good. You can drag the line before this even happened, right? You can drag the line before that even happened. Any questions or comments or anything on that right now? Any questions, any comments, any testimonies on what we've done so far? I'm just trying to slow it down so I can make sure you guys see it, because I want you to understand the power of this tool. I want you to understand the power of how it helps you identify, right? And it calls on any time frame. And so these are ones that actually were triggered. We have a few that were triggered, a few that we analyzed. And so I'm just trying to take you back to the markups you saw on the morning calls. So now, all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clone this. Can you see it? Yes, let me finish this one first, okay? Let's finish going this. And then, yeah. So now I want to clone this. And when I clone it, why do I clone it? And how do I clone it? So I come here, these little dots right here, and you see the word clone, right? Why do I clone it? Because I want it to have the same angles. I don't just, if you draw the line, it's going to go a different direction. It's going to be the adjustments. I'm going to clone it because I want it to have that same, right? I want it to have that same momentum. Like I want it to have the same exact up angle. I want it to have that. Now, if you want to just draw the line, draw the line. I'm telling you, I don't want you to be that anal to where you feel like this is not an accurate trend line because I didn't clone it, okay? No, the market moves in a channel, all right? You see the channel? The market moves in a channel. And so this is where the market was moving, okay? So let's talk about this for a minute. I mean, this is a downtrend right here. The market really only does, if depending on if we get time to go back and mark it up, but the market really only does 3 things, okay? It goes up, it goes sideways, it goes down, it goes up, right? That one really didn't go sideways, but it goes down, it goes sideways, it came back down, it goes up. So it goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. It goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. And, the thing about mentally and me being a financial advisor, I had to make that adjustment in the beginning myself, because a lot of people who have any sort of financial background, when they start trading, they start looking at the market and like, what do you mean I can make money on a sale? What do you mean I can make money if it's selling? And so you want to see it, or you have a hard time taking those trades in the beginning. But I'm here to release you from that tonight, right? We're going to release you from that anxiety. We're going to release you from that. Because the reality is the market as it's moved, you're making profit on the movement. Yes, this is real buys and sales, but it's going to do the same thing. So hopefully, I get time to it. So the clone, just click the line. You know how we always use the wheel. We always stay right here. You guys see me use this all the time. The colors, the width, okay, the settings. But however, we're going to come over here to the last 3 dots, those little dots. And it says clone right there. It's right there. All right. So now what we're doing, let's take a look at this. So the market does what's called higher highs and higher lows, lower lows and lower highs, right? That's what it does. You're welcome. So higher highs. So we made a high right here. Let's make it a cap. So we made a high. I should have just made it so I can clone this too, right? So as the market was coming up, now I'm going to talk about this in a minute, because you had to identify that this was actually a, it broke this last significant level. So we talk about this all the time, but I'm going to come back to that. I want to show you the market right now. All right. So you make a higher high, right? So this is a high, but I just want to clone it. And so then what happens is the next time the market comes up is what you call a higher high, okay? The next time it comes up is what you call a higher high. Then when I come back over here, now this technically is a higher high. It's just not, it's not touching my clone, okay? I want you to understand that. It's not touching my line. That's okay. Because what that means is that the buyers are losing momentum. That's what that means. It means my buyers are losing some momentum. And so that's a clue. It doesn't have to come all the way up here, but it just means that the buyers are losing momentum, all right? So let's clone it again. And we made another higher high. You guys with me so far? Can you see where we did that at, right? So if I don't want to color it up, but let me show you this. I really don't want to color it up. But if I was to put a line right here where our support and resistance kind of is, you can see where the reaction is. All of this happens around what? Your lifeline. What I tell you, support and resistance lines, okay? You cannot avoid them. So now, and trust me, when I started trading, I was like, who, what, how you see that? Where is that at? You know, I'm telling you, that's just normal. But but you're going to learn it, right? You're gonna learn it. And when you do, everything is just gonna start clicking. It's just gonna start clicking. So you can see that as I put this around these higher highs, you can see those support and resistance lines, right? So I'm not trying to drop those on the chart just yet, because I know the chart can get really busy, right? And I like clean charts. So you see that we kept making highs, and so we're in an uptrend. If I keep making highs, I'm in an uptrend. Now I come back over here and it creates what's called a higher low. Now, all that means is that my low is higher than the last one. So this was where we got that initial turn. So right here is where I will have a higher low. All right. So the market pulled back, right? Impulse. We had some correction. This is, you know, it pulled back. It's I would call it sloppy price action. All right. So when this pulled back, this low is higher than this last one. You notice that even in this pullback, it kind of stays sideways. So I'm not going to count this one. Okay. I'm not going to count this one. But when I come over here, even though it went low, it has to be higher than that last one. All right. So it has to be higher than the last one. I clone this again. This low is higher than the last one. As long as I'm still rising, that's why it's called a higher low. It's a low, but it's higher than my last one. And so now when we got over here, right, you notice that we kind of got one here. Now, in a perfect world, let me tell you, hold on, it's right here. In a perfect world, it's going to look like this, right? In a perfect world, just nice and pretty. That's the perfect world. That's what you see in training, right? That's the perfect world right there. That's what they look like. This is what we're identifying. That's a higher high. That's a higher low. That's a higher high. That's a higher low. That's a higher high. That's a higher low. But you have to be able to put this on the chart. I thought I could move the whole thing. You have to be able to put this on the chart where you can actually see how it kind of falls into that. Y'all see that? So the candles are not going to be perfect and picture perfect, but they're still moving in that direction. And they still look like that. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. It does. So now after we made this higher low, what am I looking for? We never made another higher high. You see that? It pulled up, but it didn't go up here. So that begins to identify that there's a change happening. There's a shift happening. There's a transition that's going to happen. And in that transition, guess what? The bounce back, okay? The bounce back identifies this. This is where these triggers start happening. And when that trigger happens, which is what we've been doing all week in the mornings, when those triggers actually start happening, then what you're seeing is now once we come out and we break that trend line, it's gonna break, but it's gonna look what we're retesting right now, but it breaks, it retests, and then we start coming downward. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? Any questions, comments, or testimonies? You get a little market structure tonight. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? All right. So now let me drop down. That means you guys got it. We got it on the first look. We figured it out, right? We all have it. All right. So that's great. So now what I want to do is I'm going to drop down to the 15 because what do you see? You see quite a bit of them triggered on the 15-minute, right? And what did I tell you there is? There is structure inside of structure. So there is structure inside of structure. So you notice that when we're doing this, I'm trying to find a pretty one. These are kind of, all right. So you notice when we're doing it, and they're not bad. I'm just trying to find a good one for training purposes. I had looked at this before the call, but you know, we had homework to do too. So not my homework. Y'all know I'm not in school. All right. Let me come over here because I want to show you. I had it marked up. I might have lost it. Let me see, USD. I think I wrote down this one. All right, I think I wrote down this one. So I'm gonna mark this one up real quick. So here we are on a 4 hour. So let's look at this one right here. Because I wanted something smoother for training purposes, right? So you guys can actually see it. So I'm coming back a little bit and they're all valid. I'm just trying to get it smooth so you can see it. I'm gonna move that out the way so I can make it big because I want it to be big. And so you can see, now we haven't even talked about trading yet. So don't be like, well, what about the blue line? Where's my stochastic? We haven't even talked about trading. I'm trying to help you identify the market right now. I'm trying to help you see the market. That's all I'm trying to do right now so you understand. All right. When you get those, you know how to go in and take them. So if I come in and I kind of clone this a little bit, and you can see now I'm going to drop down. As I drop down, that's our morning trade. As I drop down, you see structure inside of structure. So as I look at this, okay, when I do my trend line, right, I can put a trend line through here. And you see this is on, let's go down to the 15 where most of them are triggered. I was just trying to because, it makes you keep going back. So don't get dizzy as I keep moving this chart back. So now you can see where you still, look, I have a mini trends that happen in here. That's what that's triggering on the 15, is it's triggering these mini trends. That's what this is triggering, these mini trends. And of course, they come in and they break again, and they're all doing the same thing, right? They're all doing the same thing. So if I see, I can come in here and I can mark up these trends. And then obviously this one kind of dropped outside of it a little bit, but then it came back and it broke it. So you see how the market is. Do you guys see that? Like you see the mini trends? We're going to take some time on this though. I'm not trying to force this down your throat tonight because I know for some of you all, it's the first time that you saw it. And some of you all have seen it before, but you haven't analyzed it. And then of course, some of you also, we're going to take our time and we're actually going to be implementing these in the morning because like we did this week, we'll be walking you through it. We'll be pulling them we'll come in and we'll pull these and then we'll come back over here and we'll mark it up and we'll analyze it and we'll incorporate both of them with it. And so as you can see, though, you have those mini trends and this mini market structure inside of here as well. So I just want to make sure that you guys see that. Okay. And now I do want to go back and I want to show you that downtrend as we were looking at it, okay? All right. So now, how much money was this? Look at that pip count. That's 278 pips that rode all the way up. Yeah, so if you can take a trade and you can ride it until you see the structure starting to change and starting to shift, you'll learn how to let those trades sit. But even if you are a scalper, then let me tell you, when I talk about trading with the trend and counter trend trading, all right. I know we're talking about it breaking the trend line. I know we're talking about this pulling out, but I want to talk to you guys about this real quick too, because you guys asked this question. So if I know where my trend is going, look at my 4 hour, right? My 4 hour is in that upward momentum right here. Then it comes back, it's in that upward momentum right here. It comes back, it's in that upward momentum right here. So we're flowing with the 4 hour. And so when I know I'm flowing with my leading indicator, I'm flowing with the 4 hour, then when my 4 hours stop, that's when we kind of got that pull back in that point. Now this one did pull up a little bit more, but we pulled down with the 4 hour. But if I know that if I'm in an upward trend and you're the person that needs to trade with the trend, now this is GBP, so I already know that's 70 pips. Like that's quite a bit of money. But if I'm trading with the trend, you want to know how you're trading, because you guys saw we talked about a CHF pair today. I'm not counter trend trading a CHF. Like there's no amount of money you could pay me because it has the least amount of liquidity in the market. So, but GBP has the most amount of liquidity in the market. So you know that you can kind of trade with this. So as I'm looking, you can see that this is moving up, this is moving up. So if you take this trade right here, you're counter trend trading because I'm in a buy. So this is what we call impulse, correction, continuation, correction, continuation, correction, right? Well, actually it stopped being a correction because we had a shift. So you see that my higher time frames here give me my direction. My higher time frames give me my direction. My lower time frames or my mid time frames give me my analysis. So this is where I come in and I analyze. So let's analyze for a moment. I'm staying within this for a reason. I'm not coming over here just yet. So as I come over here and I analyze, okay, this is where, right, my blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. So this is the BYOB cash out strategy, guys. Look, 40 minutes into the call, and this is when we say, we have it, right? And so blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. And I just saw the comment reverse. So I'm sorry, because I didn't see when you asked me that. I apologize for that, because I don't where exactly I was when you said that. So blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. Now, this is my leading indicator. So this is that first indicator that I'm looking for, okay? I'm always looking for this. Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. So knowing that that is my leading indicator, I'm gonna mark this off only because we have so much other things that we look at, and I wanna make sure we can come back to the same spot. Now, this is my leading indicator. These are lagging. This one guides, these follow, okay? So that means that after I know this is what I'm looking for, now I want that red candle with a flat top or in a PSAR flip to the top. Now the PSAR is the dot, okay? The PSAR is the dot. And as I look right here, you can see blue line cross over red, right? Beautiful setup, guys, right? So far, so good. Beautiful, beautiful. You see that in the market, you pull one of these triggers, you see that in the market, you are ready. Now I want to come up here to my hour. And when I come to my hour, see what I'm saying? Because it's going to lose it because it resets. Okay, let's get back in here. When I come up here to my hour, and we just got a trigger for a sale. We might need to look at that. When it come up here to my hour, it needs to still be selling. I'm sorry, it needs to be setting up. I'm talking like I'm on a 5 minute. This is beautiful. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful setup. And so then when I come down to my 5 minute, which is my entry, my lower time frames are my entry, right? They're my entry. Now let's look at this. I'm trying to help you guys enter a trade very accurately. So if I'm looking at that and I know that I have that set up, so I've done my top-down analysis. I know where I'm at in the market. I've marked that off. I've used those tools, right? I marked that, and then I come back through here and I got my 15 and my 30, which is my analysis. And then I drop down for my entry. Then guess what, guys? Look at this. This was beautiful. And just this part alone, right? Because I know when everything is in alignment, I can do more than 10 pips. How many pips you take is your personal preference. But if everything is in alignment, I can do more than 10 pips. And that's why, this is how you know people are doing the 6 figures in 6 months. This is how it's being done. This is how it's happening. Anybody that's cashing out consistently and profit, you definitely dive in and understand some more. But this is how you're going to get those 6 figures in 6 months. Because now when we're right here at that line, I know where to enter my trade, and I also know where to stop for profit. I know where to enter my trade. And we're talking about a sell, which is a counter trend trade in this uptrend. But you know where to stop your trade. You know where to stop it. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? But this is how you're doing 6 figures in 6 months. This is how it's going to happen. When you really just take the time and, you start the foundation, which we talk about, and then we come through here and you actually can mark off these channels. You get those trends that come through the bounce back, right? You get those. All right, I'm not necessarily saying you have to do that, but like the harmonic scanner, the bounce back, the vibrato, all of the things. But the point I'm making is you understand what's happening in the market. You understand how to determine your direction and where you're going and what it is you're looking to accomplish, right? That's what you understand. And so that's what I really want to get you guys to see, because when we break these trend lines, we're gonna pull another one. We got time to pull another one. But when we break these trend lines, right? Voila. And what was today? Trust Your Trade Thursday. And all those 777s I saw in the chat, who trust in their trade? Who's trusting their trade? Every last one of you guys that I saw had a 777. I'm telling you, we just yesterday, we gave out, now membership have its privileges, but we gave out the Mexican vacation just yesterday. We reward you for success. I mean, seriously, guys, we reward you for success. And so you're cashing out, you're getting your pips and your points. Not only are you building your own wealth for the 6 figures in 6 months, but you're also building, you're being rewarded for doing so. And I love this movement. I love what we are able to do and empower you. All right. So any questions? I'm telling you, now's the time to ask the questions, because what happens is you guys are quiet and then I get all these messages and then you ask questions. It's time to transition the call and you'll start asking questions at 9:59. And it's like 10 of y'all will be asking a question at 9:59. So ask your questions now. Ask the questions, because I want to take the time to go through it. So, all right. So let's go to Euro USD. Oh, there we go. To get see, I told y'all I had questions. I don't know what you're waiting on. To get to 6 figures in 6 months, do you have to start with a certain balance in your account? So go to our website, BeYourOwnBankMovement.com. All right. So I know when Miss Anderson pulls it up, she has a screenshot of the template, but the actual spreadsheet is on our website and it'll allow you to play with it. So you get to download it. You can put in there if you want to start with $100, if you want to start with $500, if you want to start with $1,000, what's your risk assessment level for yourself, right? When you sit down with a financial advisor, don't you do that? So you're going to do one for yourself as well. So that risk assessment level for yourself, do you like 2%, 3%, 5%? Is going to show you exactly what your lot size should be as well. So if I'm 3% and I start with $300 at 3%, this is what my lot size will be. Now, what I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it loud and I'm going to say it. Get consistent in your account. Get consistent in your trades before you go live, before you start compounding. You want to be consistent because that's what's going to build it. You chase the skill set and the money will come. Get very, very, very consistent in your accounts. You should be at that high accuracy rate for you to start doing it. And I'm telling you that because do you think that the football players, can y'all tell I like football? Do you think that the football players actually wanted to do preseason? Don't you think that some of them are like, I got this, why we have to do this? We've been practicing all summer, right? So we just finished, but guess what? They go through preseason. Do your preseason. And now when the games start, when we go live, right? We're going live. Football is live this week. We're live. When we go live, now you can get excited, but it also shifts your emotions because there is no way you should be emotional when you take profit, or you should be, drop my 777. Be excited, right? But I want you to have an expectancy of profit. I want you to be expecting profit, okay? So go play with the chart. And because you want to understand, that's just like how many of you all been on a job interview, and before you go on a job interview, you actually know, you're like, okay, they said the pay go from this range to this range. And when it goes from this range to this range, if I get average, if I get mid at how many hours a week and this is what my pay will be. How many of you guys did that before, right? How many of you all do that? Well, this is the same thing. because you want to treat this so serious that you understand if I trade at this lot size, then this is what I'm going to get, because you guys know exactly how much money you're going to make before you even see the pay stub for the check, before the direct deposit hit. You know exactly what you're going to make. That's how I need you to play with those charts. That's how I need you to play with that spreadsheet. That's how you need to be in your demo account. That you know if you take this trade on this currency pair, you already know how much money you bring in. And you should be practicing in a demo account that you're going to trade with, okay? That's how serious you need to be about this. This is not a hobby. We're making money. We're making like real money, like for real money, all right? So let me see. Are you placing your stop loss under the PSAR? Absolutely. Absolutely, the stop loss goes. Don't ever put the stop loss in between the PSAR and the candles. Look what happens. Look what happens. Where we at? I want one that pulls back. Right here is a good one. Don't ever put your stop loss in between the PSAR and the candles. So the PSAR is a dynamic support and resistance line. This is a dynamic support and resistance line, which these orange lines are support and resistance lines. They go horizontal from one side of the chart to the other. The PSAR is a dynamic one, which means it rolls with it. It hangs out with the candles. So what happened is the momentum is actually in a buy, but I can still get a pullback. You put your stop loss in here. See, you setting yourself up. The market is telling you, all right, the market is telling you where your stop loss should be. So I don't have to say, oh, I need 20 pip stop loss. I need a 10 pip stop loss. I need a 3 pip stop loss. I need a, the market said this is where the stop loss need to be. So you always want to put it, just listen to what the market's telling you. So absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Blue line crossover red in an upward or downward momentum, red candle flat top, green candle flat bottom, PSAR flip to the top, PSAR flip to the bottom. And that stop loss is always above or below the PSAR. Always. Now, how much above or below is completely up to you. That's what your personal risk management, your personal risk assessment. So how do you start with the higher time frame or 1 hour to determine the direction of the market? And then you analyze, you go to D, and there's nothing else. So yeah, you can do it either way. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, identify the trade. Identify the BYOB cash out strategy, right? You're in that midpoint where we do our analysis, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 2 is my time frame confluence. So step 1, step 2, then step 3. Step 3 is my top-down analysis approach. So if you look at over the last 2 months, right? It's 2 months because we had a few weeks when I had COVID and we couldn't do no training. So if you look at the last 2 months, what you're gonna see is in those last 2 months where we really kind of broke down, and I think July is really when we really took the time to break down that top-down analysis for you to understand the top-down analysis approach. And so what we're doing now is kind of building on top of that. So the YouTube channel has a lot of information for you to go if you want to review or get a little bit more clarity. But we're gonna keep diving into this. We're not done with this. So because I know it's a lot to absorb at one time, right? It is. And so, but you mastering it. And let me not say a lot like that. It's just that you're learning to see the market. I want you to think about when you learned how to drive. You had to learn what the road signs meant. You had to learn, how to drive on the interstate as compared to driving on the street. That's what I mean by that. But now you guys are master drivers, or you think you're race car drivers or NASCAR drivers or wherever, NASCAR. So you want to make sure, you know what I mean? So just embrace the process and let's walk in this wealth, right? All my trades in, yep. So you're welcome. You're 30 minutes, 15 minutes to analyze. So no, 15 minutes. We start on the 15 minutes. Start on the 15 minute. What I was doing was breaking down the time frames for you, right? So you start on the 15 minute. You jump up my time frame confluence. Don't change anything. So the way we explain it is 15-minute chart, 15 minute. Go to my hour for my time frame confluence, then go to my 5 minute. Why? Now, I know some of you all check the 5 minute first, that's fine, but the 5 minute is pointless if my hour is going a different direction. So I always check my higher time frame first because that's the direction. So 15 minute, then I go to my hour, If I like what I'm seeing, I'll kind of check my top down, and then I'll go down to my 5. So even though we're kind of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, long as you get all the phases in there, don't skip anything. Understand that you're looking at the same market. You're just looking at it from a different approach, a different analysis, right? That's what you're doing. That's all you're doing. You're very welcome. I know you guys had some questions. You were too quiet, like way too quiet. Y'all either normally laughing or you're like, who? Trend lines. What's a trend line? All right. So let's see. We're going to do this again next week. We're going to do this again next week. We are not done. And I promise you at 5 a.m. and 9, well, I don't know about 9, but 5 a.m., because, 9 a.m. is indices. At 5 a.m., we're definitely going to be doing this. Yes, be up, get on up, and we're going to do this. And I can guarantee you by the end of next week, at least half of you guys are going, because you're going to be on the calls. The other half of you guys that don't get up because you're sleepy, then you're going to still have some questions. Yes, Eastern Standard Time, absolutely. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be utilizing the tools, okay? I'm going to walk you through, we're going to do some analysis, and you're going to be utilizing the tools. And when you utilize the tools, like, for example, I wanted to cover this before we get off of here because I do like the way this looked. So I'm going to just give you these two because of time. Yep, same channel, same exact channel. And how you cashing out on the training call? You know what? Just go get all the money. I told you I'm coming. I told you this morning. Didn't we tell them this morning? So here we got a lower high, right? All right. So that means that we're in a downward momentum. So now my highs are lower. And so then we're going to have a lower low. Okay. So you see, it's doing the same thing, but you guys, you see, I'm only going to mark up 2 of them for the sake of time. All right. But once again, like I said, we're going to come back next week. So now we had the lower low. So we were coming from up here, lower high up here, sloppy price action, but lower high up here, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. And then we dropped, right? We got down here, we made a lower low, came back up here, right? Got back up here. We needed to break. Look how far this is pulling up. We were not creative. We didn't come back down. When this one came back down, now this is the trend line I wanted to put on here. All right, let's look at this. Not the trend line, the support and resistance line. This is the one I wanted to put on here. This is what I wanted you guys to see, because I always talk about breaking the last significant level, and this one is really pretty. So when I'm here, right, this was the last significant level, but you didn't know it at the time. Okay, you didn't know it at the time. You had to get over here. We got to this lower low. So we actually made a lower low here. So, right, trends. And this is actually taught in the academy, okay? So in the academy, you'll see this. I'm just trying to enhance it for you. So lower lows, right through here. And then we pull back up. It could have been creating a lower high, right? Because this was that lower high, and this one is actually lower, right? So it could have been creating a lower high. So you don't know yet, because this is what you were seeing, right? That's what you were seeing. Now, when you can kind of see it, but it did break. Now, right here, all right, as this thing moved, we never came back down. We never got another lower low. We never came back down this far. So when we came up, we're at that last significant level. So if I was to bring this over, and you can see this, you see we're at that last level. We never moved up past this. So you can see, if I do it this way, right, leave this box right there so you can identify the lower level. Let me kind of thicken this up just a little bit so you guys can kind of see it. You can see where this rejected. It never made, like, it rejected. So we haven't broken that. So technically we're still in a bearish market. The market's still selling, right? So it never broke that level. But yeah, when we came down, we didn't make a low. We didn't make a lower low. Like we stopped. So there is a shift happening. But before you can ride it out, you needed to break this zone. Like, we really needed to break this area. And then ultimately that's what it came up and did. It pulled back and it went up. So you guys see that? This is why I wanted you guys to see this one, because we needed to break through there. So when it came back, it hit on that support and resistance line, but it has to, like, this is how you start identifying those trend changes. So the bounce back is going to pull us, like the bounce back is going to give you this. So we're going to put this in the mornings. We're going to put the harmonic scanner. We're going to put the bounce back. We're going to pull those, and you guys should come having analyzed some. You guys should come to the calls next week having analyzed some, all right? You guys definitely should. Any questions, comments, testimonies? We're going to take our time going through this. I'm telling you now, we're going to take our time because these things are very important. Support and resistance trend lines, support and resistance, trend lines. All of that is so very important. All right. Questions, comments, testimonies before we transition this call. Any questions, comments, or testimonies before we transition this call? Where we at? Was this helpful? Does it clarify some things? This was really good. Thank you. You're very, very welcome. So it's yes. And yes, you're right. You do have to demo. You know what? I was over there looking at that chart. So, yep, you do have to demo. Let me make sure I get all my comments. Let me see here. Yep, you do have to demo before you ride in the back of the limos. You know what? You come with many jokes every day. I love it. For real, for real money. So each times, let me see what you're saying. Each time gets clearer and clearer. Y'all, I'm reading 2 chats, so just bear with me. So yes, very helpful. Yes. So what time? 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. Yep, 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, all right? All right, guys. Well, this has been a call, but don't go anywhere. Do not leave. Yes, we are going to, continue to break this down. We're definitely going to do that. But let me do this. But do not go anywhere because it is time to transition this call, right? It is time to transition this call. The gentleman I am turning this call over to, he has his PhD in finance and economics. He is the one, the only finance doctor. And I'm telling you, he has over 26 years experience, consultant, CFO, and an educator. So you want to stay put, grab a pen and paper as you listen to the one and only finance doctor. Dr. B, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Miss Tasha M. Dyer. The M stands for she missed a year because it's now 27. Just messing with you, but it is 27. We get used to saying something, and then when it shifts, we have to make amends. I have a perfect example of that. Someone asked me for my bio, and I sent it, and then realized that all of my children's ages were wrong. So we got to do that updating every once in a while. So welcome to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. I should have gone with the 26 because it makes me feel younger, but it is what it is. So for those of you that are new, this call is purposely utilized with the preposition with, because this is to be a conversation. So every other call is chart-based. So the best way to answer questions, or to ask questions, is to do so in the chat. But here, this is a dialogue. This is a conversation. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a testimony, please unmute your mic and ask your question. So let's start with that. Are there any questions for the finance doctor tonight? Okay, so I realized that this group thrives on concepts. So I said to myself, this group needs a new concept. So I went in the lab. I went in the concept lab, and I wanted to come up with something that was new, that was innovative, that would move the crowd. Eric B. and Rakim, Miss Anderson. And so as a result of that, I came up with this outstandingly appropriate phraseology that we're going to add to the BYOB acumen. And It's this. Okay, get ready. Get your pens and pads ready. Or if you do your notes in your phone, whatever device you use, whatever mechanism you use, you're going to want to record this because this will be something we will say for years to come. I came up with this creative new term, this creative new phrase, and it's called Trust Your Trade Thursday. Come on. Am I the bomb or what? Let me say it again. Trust Your Trade Thursday. Are you kidding me? Do you believe the things that I come up with when I go into my spiritual lab and I ask the Lord to reveal to me? So obviously, I am being extremely sarcastic, and here's why. For those of you that may have missed our earlier calls, we do a 5 a.m. Eastern prophet call, and we do a 9 a.m. Eastern call at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I am almost sure it was the 9 a.m. call, but someone came up with that outstanding phrase, trust your trade Thursday. And I want to say this to Ms. Dyer, whoever it was must have chatted you privately because I never saw it. I kept trying to look to see who said it. But the bottom line is I just wasted the last 1 minute and 37 seconds of your life because I really love that term, but was not the creator and innovator. In fact, if the person who came up with that is on this call, can you please tell me what? DL. Got it. Is DL on the call? Doesn't look like it. So bottom line is this. I thought that was an outstanding phrase. And DL, if you are on YouTube checking us out, just know that I thought that was outstanding. And let me tell you why I thought that was outstanding. Because we spend a lot of time in this forum discussing the importance of taking our skill set acumen, our understanding of the macroeconomic environment, our ability to be able to be an educated trader, but to mix all of that in a gumbo that's seasoned with mindset, where we have to understand how important our mindset is. And I remember having a conversation with a team member about 3 weeks ago. And the conversation was about why people stick, why people continue to plug in and get to the 6 figures in 6 months versus those who don't. And oftentimes, one of the main reasons why individuals do not make it, or individuals drop off, or individuals begin to plug in less and less over time is because of their belief structure, because of what they think about themselves, because of how they believe this process is. And I will give you an outstanding example from last night. I was speaking to one of my former students, and I explained to the former student, let me make sure you understand this, went through the proper progression. She was exposed to the video. She went on a informational call. So she had all the information. She knew what the price was. She knew everything. But she began to talk about how being an emergency room nurse, there's no way she would be able to spend hours and hours on the chart. So I explained to her what we do and how we do it. And she responded by saying, there's no way I can spend hours and hours on the chart. So then I explained to her that I personally spend more time in this educational mentoring coaching space than I do actually trading. That the actual trading takes far less time than the movement itself. And she responded by saying, I don't have 2 or 3 hours in order to trade. So as I continued to dig deeper and deeper, it was uncovered that she has colleagues, she has friends and associates that trade. And the way they trade is stressful. It's hours and hours. So you have to think about this. What is a belief, BYOB? What is a belief? A belief is a thought that you keep thinking. A belief is a thought that you keep thinking. And oftentimes our beliefs are specifically implanted in us based on our experience. based on what we see, based on what we hear. In our radio show on Tuesday, we were messing with Bishop Robertson because he made some comments about the news. And I have not watched the news since the year 1999. I'm serious about it. I literally have not watched the news broadcast since 1999 because I know how heavy it is. I know that something big that happens, it'll come out. And I know that when we continue to watch features of things that are bad happening, things that are scary, things that are fearful, eventually that gets into our subconscious, and unknown to us, we begin to attract it and don't even realize it. So I said all that just to say that this young lady, as intelligent as she is, and knowing that I was a very hands-on professor with her years ago, of course I'm going to be hands-on as her teammate, but the belief was so strong that you have to spend 2 or 3 hours. So as we continue to have this dialogue, and I finally got her to let go of that belief, then she started saying this. Well, what if I get in a situation and I don't know what to do? I said, hello? First of all, I just told you that we do 40 free calls a month. And I am your former professor. So you have me in your phone. So you have a direct access to not only the implementer of the strategy, but the visionary and the finance doctor. So you have everything that you need. And she responded by saying, yeah, but what if I have questions? And this went 5 or 6 rounds. Now I want you to hear me. First of all, let's be honest. She is an emergency room nurse. Let me say it again. She is an emergency room nurse. Can you imagine what you see on a daily basis as an emergency room nurse? Can you imagine the pain and the crisis that you see? So I have all, shout out to her, because she's not only, being an emergency room nurse is challenging before a global pandemic, but it's obviously going to be challenging during a global pandemic. You're in the belly of the beast every day. So I understand why her belief structure was so strong, but I just found it fascinating that I kept saying to her, we've got all of these calls and you've got me in your phone. But she kept saying over and over and over, well, what if I have questions? What if I have questions? So it took a long time for me, DL. It took a long time for me, DL, to be able to convince her to trust the process. So that is why I got so excited when when DL made up Trust Your Trade Thursday. Because Trust Your Trade Thursday is way more than the trade. It's really about the belief structure that you bring to this movement. It's about the experience that you have. It is about your ability to be able to look at some of the things you've seen and now let go and have a new belief system. There's a famous author, and if he's that famous, I should remember his name, but I don't. There's a famous author that made this quote. He said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read, but it will be those who do not have the ability to unlearn and relearn. Let me say it again. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read, but those who do not have the ability to unlearn and relearn. Come on, y'all. There is so much stuff that is happening in this world. There's so much change. There's so many shifts. There's so much technology. There's so many opportunities but we have to trust our trade. We have to believe in a new system that is going to honor us. I'll give you another. Why do y'all keep asking for examples? Okay, I'll give you another one. I have a fraternity brother that I find very intelligent. In fact, he is a medical doctor, very intelligent. I sat down with him and several of my fraternity brothers. I am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. So I sat with all of my fraternity brothers and I explained to them, of course, took them through the proper process and had a dialogue about the Be Your Own Bank movement. And this particular fraternity brother, who again is a medical doctor, pause, just for a second. Think of the process you have to go through when you're an undergrad. When we went to Howard University, you're an undergrad and you're pre-med. Those classes are no joke. At Howard University, all the medical classes were in the valley, meaning that here's one part of Howard University, here's another part of Howard University, and there's this low part. So you literally had to go down a hill in order to go to class. You had to go up the hill after class. So it was just an environment of sacrifice and hardidity. Yes, he said hardidity. So that's where he comes from. Then you go to medical school. And watch this. I'm going to really, I hope nobody snitches. But here's another part of his experience. He is an African-American who grew up in Los Angeles. And his family, when he was in high school, moved to Beverly Hills. So you've got a South Central LA guy who now is transplanted to Beverly Hills as almost a senior. And so you can imagine what that culture shock was like. So he's seen some struggle. So I said all that to say this. We have the conversation about the Be Your Own Bank movement, and my intelligent fraternity brother says this: there's no way it's that easy. There's no way it's that easy. Now, it is that easy. It's that easy because of what we do. It's that easy because of I Am Academy. It's that easy because Ms. Dyer created an excellent strategy. It's that easy because we mentor and coach you throughout the month. But it really is that easy. In fact, I'll go ahead and give her a shout out right now. We had a movement before the BYOB cash out strategy. And it was much more challenging before Ms. Dyer came up with this strategy. This strategy literally easierizes it. So we're sitting in this conversation and he says, there's no way it's that easy. So he passed on it. He passed on it because his belief system was everything has to be a struggle. Everything has to be hard. Everything has to be a process. And I'm saying this not just as a mechanism for you to understand how people see things when you expose this to people. I'm also saying this to you because sometimes we bring some of that to this process. Sometimes we have this inner belief that we haven't connected with that it's no way it's that easy. Sometimes we hardize it ourselves. Ms. Dyer will say, okay, do this, this, and this. And then you'll ask questions, adding things to what's not even there. That's not you being unintelligent. That's not you making a mistake. That's you coming to the table with a subconscious belief based on what you've experienced. So it's okay. But we have to, DL, trust our trade. We have to trust our trade. And part of trusting the trade is realizing you can do this. This is easy for you. Ms. Dyer and the Lord have made it easy. So you now have an opportunity to get to 6 figures in 6 months easily by finding 3 indicators. Not 7, not 9, 3. And I sometimes chuckle with the beginners because we all did it. You know, you have a million questions and you're adding so much to the pressure and you're tightening your shoulders when the reality is just look at the 3 look at the 3 indicators. And I love this question, and we always get this from beginners. What do you do if you don't have the 3 indicators? What do you do if you don't have the 3 indicators? It's so simple. Have the 3 indicators, do it. If you don't have the 3 indicators, don't do it. How simple is that? But we live in a world that puts so much pressure on a process, that puts so much pressure on things being challenging and difficult. I will give you another example. Y'all keep asking me for examples. So my oldest daughter, I have 3 daughters, 20, 17, and 16. The 20-year-old is at Florida A&M University. She's going into a junior year, but she's really a senior because she has some dual enrollment credits. So she could really be finishing the semester. So she said to me, Dad, I'm thinking about getting a couple scholarships just to make the final year easy? I said, sure. So we found this website and they have this list of scholarships and it's a whole bunch of them. So I sent it to her and said, hey, oldest daughter, just go and fill out these scholarships. And the first thing she did was this. Because to her, it's the process of going through it and filling out the application and answering the questions and doing the essays. She hadn't even looked at it yet. But in her mind, it's a process. So I had to say to my oldest daughter, on the other side of this is something that's beneficial for you, and it's something that you just asked for. So trust the process. The same way DL trusts the trade on Thursday. So right now, there's somebody who's listening to me right now who is going through the process. You're doing all the right things. You're plugging in, but you've been having a little bit of anxiety because you don't quite trust the trade. You're second guessing yourself. You're questioning yourself. And that's not about the trade. That's not about the strategy. That's about the society that we live in and the belief structure that has happened as a result. So I am going to pause myself on purpose. And when I pause myself, I want to hear from someone who is going to be bold enough to share the truth of what I'm saying. You know why? Because it will bless everybody else. There's somebody on this call right now with this concept of Trust the Trade Thursday speaks to your experience. So I'm going to take a sip of water while you unmute your mic and tell your testimony. Come on, y'all, don't make me look like that. People are watching this 20 years in the future. So unmute your mic and please share your testimony. Come on, y'all, I know I'm right. So go ahead and unmute and tell me, yes, you that just said, is he talking to me? Yes, it was you. So please unmute your mic.
Hey, Dr. Bythewood, this is Tasha Nunn.
First of all, I knew it. Okay, Miss Nunn, how you doing?
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you for the opportunity to share. You are absolutely right. You know, I know for myself, I will get in my head sometime and I need to relax and, you know, do my patience, profit, be at perfect peace and trust the analysis and trust the trade. And once I do that, potentially it works out better, but it is a concern the way the market is going right now, the things that are happening in the world, the news that could come out and potentially turn the trade the other way. But what I notice is when I'm not operating in that, in the, you know, just trusting my analysis and trusting the trade and our strategy that has been already developed for us, when I don't do that and then I sit back and I watch it all play out, I wish I had of, because I could have taken more profit in the market.
Ms. Nunn, I certainly appreciate you saying it. You're not the only one, by the way, but I certainly appreciate you unmuting your mic and sharing that. Now, a couple of things we can take from that. So I knew that whatever was said was going to allow us to dive deeper into this subject. Now, first of all, let's break down that word, concern. Concern is an energy. Concern is an energy. And we really never have to be concerned about anything. All we have to do is set ourselves in a position where we focus on what we want. Like you hear Ms. Dyer say a lot, where focus goes, energy flows. So the moment that we use that word concern, we tighten our shoulders up. And what happens when we tighten our shoulders up? We get closer to attracting whatever it is that we're concerned about. Can I give you a couple of real life examples, snatched from this world we live in? What did your parents and grandparents and auntie and them tell you when you were around the dog? If you don't know the dog, are you supposed to be scared around the dog? Of course not. Because what happens when you're scared? The dog attacks. That's the way life is. Life attacks when you're scared. When you're concerned, life barks at you. Life jumps at you. The reason why the dog attacks is because it instinctually senses that fear. And it simply is something that they're attracted to. Life is exactly the same way. Here's another way of looking at this. I want you to really walk away with this. We live in an inclusion-based universe. We live in an inclusion-based universe. What does that mean? That means we can only include things in our experience. We can only include things in our experience. It is impossible to exclude something from your life. That's not true. Okay, you just did it. That's not true. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Classroom participation. Don't unmute. Just participate with this on your own. Okay, right now, don't think about a pink elephant. You heard what I said. Stop thinking about the pink elephant. Get the pink elephant out of your mind. Exactly. Because I said stop thinking about the pink elephant, each one of you thought about the pink elephant. What you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. It is impossible for you to take something out of your experience. You can only bring things in your experience. I had a life coaching client, and I said this to the life coaching client. The life coaching client said, that's not true. I said, it is true. Let's prove it. I said, and the person happened to live in Minnesota. I said, life coaching client, go outside and dig a hole. Get your shovel and dig a hole. So the life coaching client got smart with me. Well, this is Minnesota and there's snow on the tundra. It's not nice earth like you have in Florida. Okay, just do what I told you to do, life coaching client. So did I get a little attitude like I was reliving that? So the person dug the hole. They dug the hole. Now, 3 days later, I said, hey, go back and look at the hole. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. I wasn't there. I didn't know what happened. But think about how confident I was that my paying client was going to have a reaction and a response that was commensurate with my point. Well, when they went outside, guess what? The hole wasn't there anymore. Because it's impossible to take away from the earth. You can only add to the earth. What are you talking about, Dr. B? Go outside and chop down a tree. Oh, I took away from the earth, I chopped down a tree. Okay, what's gonna happen 30 years from now? 30 years from now, a squirrel will find a nut, will leave that nut will now go into the ground, they'll forget where they at, and it will cause an oak tree. The acorn becomes the oak tree. So all I'm saying is if you really think about it, the way in which this earth is created, it's impossible to exclude anything from the earth. You can only add to the earth. You can only plant a seed. So if we think about that from a conceptual perspective, think about how many times a day you walk around trying to stop something from happening. Don't do that. Stop doing it. Okay, y'all. Y'all don't want to be real? So I'm not the only parent on this call. I want y'all to be real with me for a second. Think about the last 10 things that you told your child not to do. Stop doing this. Don't leave this out. Don't do that. Now, how many of you are going to be, you don't have to unmute unless you want to, how many of you are going to be honest with me and realize they still doing that same thing? And sometimes it is the energy of us saying it to them which makes them not do it. I had a real conversation with my 16-year-old the other day because I keep asking her to put things away and she won't do it. The disrespect. It's not disrespect. It's an energy. So I said this to my 16-year-old, I promised 2 days ago. I said, dear, I keep asking you to do this. I keep asking you not to leave stuff out. I keep asking you not to do this, but you keep doing it. And I started thinking about something. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, in my mind, I really thought I was doing the right thing. My mother would fuss and fuss. Well, hope she's not listening to the call. It don't matter, I'm grown. So she would fuss and fuss and fuss and fuss and say, don't do that, don't do that, don't leave this out, don't leave this out. In my mind, I was doing my best. In my mind, I was trying to make sure everything was straight the way she asked me, but I would always leave something out. There will always be something she would notice that I didn't notice. I'm like, dang, I tried to clean up everything, but I didn't realize I left the iron out. And see, now in retrospect, I can understand it was an energy. I was trying to not leave things out. Therefore, I attracted not leaving things out because that was the energy I was in. It's impossible to exclude something from your experience. You can only include things in your experience. So if I say, Tasha Nunn, when said all that, say this. If I say this, Tasha Nunn, The news might change my trade. I'm trying to exclude the experience of the news changing my trade. What if I simply took that situation and remixed it? What if I flipped it? What if I said, I love the news because I always want to make sure that I have a nice liquid trade. So when the news happens, I'm going to make sure I trade 15 minutes after the news. It's the same news. It's the same trade. It's the same skill set, but it's a different energy. It's a different energy. What you resist will persist. We do not have the ability to exclude things from our experience. We can only include. What? Y'all want another example? Okay. This book that I read sometimes, early on in the book, there's a declarative statement that sets the stage for the spiritual that we walk in. What? I thought this was science. Okay, it is science. Albert Einstein said, the intuitive mind is a gift and the rational mind is a servant. We live in a society that ignores the gift and serves the servant. Child. We always trying to think it out. Didn't you hear Ms. Nunn say that? We're always trying to think it out. But this intuitive mind book that I read sometimes, it says early on, I am that I am. It says, I am that I am. It never says, I am not that I am not. Because I am not that I am not is an energy that goes against the way things are. It says God is love. It doesn't say God is not hate. God is love. I am that I am. So every single place you look, you have reinforcement of this truth that I'm telling you. The issue is we live in a society that focuses on the not. I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. I'm concerned about this. No, you're not. You're in a movement that makes it easy, that teaches you what to do. You do the three indicators, you affirm who you are, and you focus on that and that only. Oh, I love the news because it provides liquidity to the market. And suddenly, Ms. Nunn, now hear me, I'm not talking to Ms. Nunn. I'm talking to all the people who didn't unmute because Ms. Nunn just gave a little bit of a sprinkling of what everybody else is thinking. So thank you, Ms. Nunn, for being honest enough to help us to recognize, DL, you said something, bro. Trust the trade. Trust the trade. Isn't the affirmation, I am the signal? I am the signal. Wait. If I am the signal, you about to break it down. If I am the signal, doesn't that mean I am the trade? Trust the trade means trust you. Trust the trade means trust you. Trust you that you made a great decision to be a part of this movement. We don't need concern. We don't need to think about what can't happen or what might not happen. All we have to do is think about what we know is going to happen. It's already done. And that's the beauty of the Be Your Own Bank movement. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. Questions, comments, testimonies. Trust the Trade, Thursday. One more time, because I went a little bit over. Questions, comments, testimonies. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I always stop right at 10:30. I'm a tactician with this thing. You're very welcome. And DL, again, watching from YouTube, thank you so much for coming up with that. That is a very strong concept that I know you will hear again. So, one more time. Questions, comments, testimonies.
Thank you so much for another power-packed lesson tonight. We are on our way to glory. Just one more rung on this glory ladder. From glory to glory, God is taking us. Thank you, Dr. Bythewood.
You are very welcome, Miss Elizabeth Brownlee. You know why I'm smiling.
Just for 16 more days.
16 more days. Talk about it. Woo, child. Y'all know I'm gonna be right there. Right? I just want y'all to know I'm gonna be right there. Somebody's parents of children gonna have to move because I'm gonna be on the front row for that one.
All right, you have a place on the front row too.
Say that. All right. So let me close this call, but let me first say that we've had a really good week. The energy, the education, both Miss Anderson and Miss Dyer, y'all are on fire. Miss Brantley too, on fire all week. Just really good stuff. I love the energy that we're walking in right now. Let's keep it up. Miss Nunn, again, thank you for being transparent because you really do speak for the people. There's some people listening to this right now in a recording and it's speaking to them because of what you said. So thank you for that. Okay, everybody, let's close this call in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this lesson. Thank you for DL's commentary. Thank you for Ms. Nunn and her contribution to blessing others. This is what we mean by economic empowerment. This is what we mean by impacting families. We are thankful, we are appreciative, and we are grateful. All right, amen, everybody. This will officially end this call. All right, go back to the Bucks game now.
Blah, blah.